Title: You're adopted, so I removed your name from the will, my dad announced at his 60th birthday party. He said it like a toast, light, casual, cruel. The room erupted into laughter, the kind people use when they want to please someone with money. I didn't laugh. I just watched him raise his glass like he'd won a war I never agreed to fight. Maybe he thought humiliation would break me. Maybe he wanted it to. I stepped forward, slow, calm, and placed his birthday gift on the table, a single envelope. He smirked, expecting sentiment. He always underestimated me. I tore it open, pulled out the document inside, and shredded it, piece by piece, in front of everyone. He lunged, desperate, trying to reassemble the torn scraps. The color drained from his face the moment he recognized what it used to be. That moment, his panic, his confusion, was my victory. But it wasn't spontaneous. It was the final stitch in a revenge I'd been weaving for years. He wasn't always the villain in my story. When I was a kid, he was the man who patched my scraped knees and taught me how to throw a baseball. A man who told me I was his real kid, no matter what blood said. I believed him. We all believe our heroes, until we see the cracks. Mine showed when I was 15. I overheard him on the phone with his sister. She'll never be my blood. I'll do what needs to be done. I pretended not to hear, pretended not to understand. Pretended the cold in my chest was just winter. I kept pretending for years. It wasn't the adoption that bothered me, it was the lie. The way he spoke about me when he thought I wasn't listening. So when I found documents in his office, already drafted, notarized, filed, removing me from his will, it didn't hurt. It clarified. He hadn't planned to tell me. He wanted me to find out too late, after he was gone, when I couldn't confront him. Coward. I sat in his chair, holding the papers, and I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I simply understood. This wasn't a father-daughter bond. It was a transaction to him, and he'd decided I no longer yielded profit. I didn't seek emotional closure. I sought precision. First, I researched every asset he owned, bank accounts, properties, bonds he bragged about but kept hidden from my mother, the offshore account he thought no one knew existed. Then I studied estate law. Quietly, patiently, long nights, cold coffee, and a new hobby, identifying loopholes. I hired a lawyer, not for war, but for strategy. And I gathered evidence. Years of voice recordings he didn't know I had, screenshots of messages, legally obtained copies of financial discrepancies. My revenge wasn't rage, it was arithmetic. Each discovery was another variable, each lie another solvable equation. And the final answer? A single document. A power of attorney transfer, signed by him during a moment of drunken vulnerability months earlier when he still believed I desperately needed his approval. He didn't even read it. He just said, "Sure, sweetheart," and signed. He never asked what it really gave me. Control. I didn't aim to take what was mine. I aimed to take everything he weaponized. Using that document, my lawyer and I quietly transferred titles, moved funds, updated ownership records. All legal, all binding, all untraceable back to Malice. I liquidated assets he thought were untouchable. I donated a portion to charities he despised. I paid off my mother's debts and secured her an account he couldn't drain. Every week, another slice of his empire disappeared. He noticed, of course, but not soon enough. He blamed market shifts, then his accountant, then his brother. He never suspected me. Not until the party. He grinned as he delivered his little announcement, expecting my devastation. He wanted an audience for my humiliation. Instead, he got a performance he couldn't interpret. The envelope I handed him contained the final record of everything he'd lost, an itemized list of assets now legally under my control, signed with the very signature he'd given me. His signature, his consent, his downfall. When I tore it apart, I wasn't destroying my future, I was destroying his last illusion of power. Because the original wasn't in the envelope. It was already filed, processed, irreversible. He scrambled on the floor, trying to tape the pieces together, thinking the paper itself held value, thinking the damage could be undone if he reconstructed the document. It was almost pathetic, like watching a king try to glue back a fallen crown. His face lost every shade of arrogance as he read the fragments. Transfer of ownership, irrevocable, full financial rights, signature, his name. The guests went silent. The laughter died. It was just him and the truth. He looked up at me, breath shaking, voice breaking. What did you do?" I didn't answer. Silence was my final weapon. Security helped him stand. People whispered. Some stared at me with a mix of confusion and awe. I remained calm, controlled. He stumbled after me as I walked out of the hall. "Everything! Everything you took! It's mine!" "No," I said, turning to him. "You signed it over. You just never bothered to read what you thought was another form I needed." His mouth opened, but no sound came out. For the first time in my life, he understood what it felt like to be powerless. I didn't ruin him out of spite. I ruined him because he taught me the rules, then assumed I'd never learn how to play. He thought blood determined family. He was wrong. Loyalty does, integrity does, and he had neither. As I walked away from the party, I felt no guilt, no regret, just clarity. If he wanted to remind me that I wasn't his blood, fine, because I didn't need to be his daughter to end his reign. I just needed to stop pretending he was my father.